Now, triangles are great, but if you want to go a little beyond the triangle and you want to add some style to what you're drawing on the canvas, you'll need to know the API calls that are necessary for that. So let's consider you're building your first game of Tetris within the canvas, and you need to build some shapes that will work with your Tetris game. So here's the standard shape that you're used to seeing in just about any Tetris game. And so let me show you the code that's used in order to draw this shape. So doing the same types of thing here, I have this script that's executed within the ready event handled by jQuery. And I'm doing the very same thing, get element by ID. I'm looking for the element with an ID of canvas, and I have that right here. So I'm making sure I have my canvas, and canvas has get context. And then from there, I'm getting the 2D context out of the canvas, and now I have a drawing context to work with. So just as you saw before, I'm saying begin path. I move to my starting point. I line to a couple different points in order to trace the contour of my line. And then I can say close path. So what this does is it closes the path for me without filling it or stroking the line. Because remember, what I'm doing here is I'm just giving instructions to the drawing context to do certain things. Nothing is drawn on the context until I tell it to fill, or perhaps I tell it to stroke the line. What fill does is it gives the color to the inside of the shape, and stroke will give color to the outline of the shape. But before I call fill, what I want to do is give it a blue color. So here I have the hexadecimal value for that blue color that you've seen, and all I need to do is apply this value to the fill style of the context. So once I've given the drawing context the fill style of that blue and I call fill, then that shape will be filled with that color of blue. Now, in order to give the stroke or the outline the way I want it to look, I say line width equals 6, line join round. You can make these pointed, you can make them flat, you can make them round. Here I'm making it a rounded edge. And then I'm saying stroke style instead of fill style, this time stroke style. I'm giving it a light gray color, and then I can tell it to stroke. Now, what's interesting is that with all those instructions, you end up with a shape like this. But something I want you to be aware of is that the order of operations is very important. Because if you apply the fill first, what will happen is here's the outside bounds. These black lines here are the outside bounds of your shape. And if you apply the fill first, and then the stroke, what will happen is the stroke will take its width and distribute it evenly along the boundaries of your shape. But if you apply the stroke first, and then you apply the fill will take up the room all the way up to the boundary of your shape. So be aware of that as you're building your shapes, because even the order of operations can change how things appear within the canvas.